Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, whatever time it is, wherever you are in the world at the moment. Welcome to Brews, Books and Other Awesomeness. My name is Tanya and I'm struggling with the ring light at the moment, as I'm sure you can see in my glasses. And today's video is all about what is on my September TBR and why. So this month I have 2, 4, 6, 8, 9, 11 books, including 3 graphic novels. Actually, no, sorry, including 5 graphic novels. So that's going to make it a little easier. So here's what I'm planning to get through reading in September and why. First thing is Locke Key, the graphic novels, volumes 1 and 2. And I'm a member of a sci-fi book club, and each month we have a different book that we all read so we can get together and chat about. The book for September, we're doing a graphic novel instead of a standard novel, and it's Locke Key volume 1 and 2. And I know that's been a Netflix series and a lot of my friends have really enjoyed it. So I haven't seen it yet. I probably will watch it once I've read the graphic novels. I'm looking forward to trying that one out. The second one, or third, depending on whether you count those 2 books as one or not, the next book, anyway, is White Knight by Jim Butcher, which is book 9 of the Dresden Files. Now, I'm really struggling with this ring light. Incidentally, if you record videos and you know the best way to work with a ring light, please let me know. Sorry, I should say best way to work with a ring light and glasses. So the second one is White Knight. What is happening for me at the moment is I am going back through all the Dresden Files books, which I have loved, in preparation for reading Peace Talks and Battleground, which come out this year. Peace Talks came out in July, and I was originally wanting to read back through everything so that I could go straight on from Skin Game, which was the last book, straight into Peace Talks. That ship has sailed. I've missed my chance to do that. But in some ways, from what I'm hearing from people who've read Peace Talks, it's not a bad thing to read Battleground, which is coming out in November, straight after Peace Talks. So that's now my plan. I'm now planning to read back through all of the books up until that point so that I can reread Skin Game, go straight into Peace Talks, and then go straight into Battleground. It's the plan. We'll see how I go. Next on the list, Empire of Gold by S.A. Chakraborty. I have read the first 2 books in the David series in June and early July, I think. Empire of Gold was on my list for August and I didn't get to it. I really would like to read it. I'm a bit annoyed that I didn't get to it. So it's fine. It's now on the September list. This is a fantasy book, sort of political fantasy. Starts off in Napoleonic Cairo, very quickly moves to the city of Jin and the various tribes of Jin and how they're all politicking and vying for power. It's probably the best non-urban fantasy that I have read this year, and possibly in previous years also. I love all the Middle Eastern mythology that comes into it. I love the Jinn society and how there's so many layers of it, but those layers just absolutely mimic the way humans vie for power. And I love the 3 main characters. Yeah, I can't say more about it than that at the moment, other than that, really looking forward to reading it. I'm looking forward to the trilogy finishing, and I'll let you know what I think of it once I've finished it. Next on the list, Dawn Caravan. This is book 3 in... It's not the Elemental Legacy. Basically, Elizabeth Hunter is one of my favourite urban fantasy and paranormal romance writers, and her Elemental Vampire set is... I found it started... It had a bit of a weak start for me. I know I'm possibly a little bit more critical than most people are of the first 4 books, but for me, once I started reading the spin-off series from that, I found that every book got an order of magnitude better, and I just loved them all. So Dawn Caravan is the third book in the Ben and Tenzin set, and it's fair to say that I am a massive Benson fan. I really, really enjoy these books. And I'm looking forward to Dawn Caravan. It's another one that was on my August TBR and I didn't get to it. Partly because, and I suspect Empire of Gold was the same, I was sick for the last 2 weeks of August, and a week and a half of August anyway. And I was just not up to anything that would challenge my brain too much. I mentioned this in my August wrap-up, I just wanted something that was fun and light and enjoyable. And while both Dawn Caravan and Empire of Gold are enjoyable, they also are a little bit more demanding than my brain was able to cope with. So I suspect that's part of why I didn't get to read them. The next one on my list is also an Elizabeth Hunter. I said I like her stuff. So she has a Ripple Lake, I think it's called. Glimmer Lake trilogy that she has written, which are 3 books about 3 good friends in a small town, kind of mountain lake town, who suddenly discover that they're psychic, and they each have a different psychic gift. The first book is not a romance. Well, you could call it a romance if you consider that a husband and wife who are kind of going about their lives and haven't been focusing on their relationship, and by the end of it they are focusing on their relationship again. If to you that constitutes a romance, have at it. This is a romance. If you feel that a romance needs to be between 2 characters who were not in a relationship at the beginning of the book, it's not a romance. It's still a wonderful story. It is, I wouldn't call it fluffy. It is light, though. It's light-hearted. There's really good female friendship representation in it. The friendships aren't perfect, but they are solid. And her characters, they are, I won't say older women. They're in their 40s, I think. Late 30s or early 40s, perhaps. I'm not 100% sure of the age range, but I know that they are mature women. And they've pretty much got past all the silly crap. There's not a better way of putting it. The silly crap that you see a lot of younger characters dealing with. So I enjoyed that massively. So I enjoyed the first book. I'm really looking forward to the second one, which I think is more of a romance than the first one, at least in terms of the main character is not in a relationship at the end of at the beginning of the book. I don't know whether she will be by the end, but I suspect so. So that's Semi-Psychic Life by Elizabeth Hunter. Next book on the list is Enchantment of Ravens, which is a YA fairy fantasy. I have seen this book recommended on so many different booktuber videos. I'm going to be honest, I'm not hating it. There are elements I love of it. I'm reading it at the moment, I should say, so it's going to be carried over from August into September. I'm loving the fact that the main character has a really snarky voice. Snark is always a good thing from my point of view. You cannot have too much snark. So I like her snarky narrative voice. But also, I have a thing about romances when the character is when the female character is a teenager and the male character is a 400 or 800 or whatever 100-year-old vampire or fairy prince or whatever it might be. There's some issues I have with that. And this book does not have enough good things in it at this point to totally overcome my dislike of that huge age difference. That this huge thing of an immortal who's been alive forever, massively falling head over heels in love with a teenager for reasons that we're not really sure about. Other than that, it is written beautifully. It's very descriptive, very vivid imagery, but I'm we'll see where it goes from here. I'm probably about halfway through it at the moment, and it could get better. We'll see. Next on the list is J.D. Robb's Calculated in Death. Now, I started reading the Even Rourke books maybe 10 years ago. I can't remember. Long time ago. What I find is I love them. I love this, again, the snark. I love the relationships. I love the found family. I love the friendships that come through in it. But there's something about them that means that I'll read 2 or 3 of them in a row, and then I'll need to take a break for 2 or 3 years. Sometimes not quite that long, but I think the last one I read one in July, which was the first one I'd read in, I don't know how many years. I don't know when the last one was. I'm looking forward to it. I don't know how many I'm going to get through in my string this time around before I again need to take a break. But I don't know. It's one of those, it's not light and fluffy exactly, but it's not too challenging and too demanding. And just, as I said, the relationships, the friendships are just, they make me happy. Next on my list, 3 graphic novels. The next 3 Ms. Marvels, which is volume 4 to 6. I mentioned in my August wrap-up how much I loved volumes 1 to 3. And so I want to keep going with the series. And if I can do 3 a month, I'll be happy with that. I should mention I'm getting them from my library. So it's nice to be able to borrow them without necessarily having to go out and buy them. And then the final book on my list, actually there's 2. They're both non-fiction. So they don't fit into my usual wheelhouse. But I'm trying to read at least 1 non-fiction book a month, and this month I'm aiming for 2. One of them is for my work. I mentioned in my intro video that I work as a freelance editor. Sometimes I edit books, but I also edit online content, and the book I am wanting to read is Designing Connected Content. I do not have the name of the author available. Editing Tanya, what's the name of the author for this one? And I also want to read at least 1 non-fiction book about tea, but I haven't decided what yet. So that'll be for this channel. It'll be something I can talk about later on, because not only is the channel about tea and books, it's sometimes about tea books. So those are the books that I am aiming to read in September. I don't know how many of them I'll get through. We will see. I would love to hear what you are reading in September. Are you reading all in one genre, or do you try and spread it out? Do you read non-fiction, or is it only fiction? Let me know in the comments below. And of course, if you have any thoughts, suggestions, or questions, please put those in the comments below as well. I love hearing from you. Otherwise, please, if you've enjoyed this video, hit the like button, hit the subscribe button. It helps me out. It means that you make sure you get more wonderful content. And other than that, I will see you in the next video. Bye now.